Shalom. First thing and foremost, I'd like to give all praises and glory and honor that's due to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, Rakakwadash. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of the great millstone that rule well. Peace and blessings and salutations to the hopeful elect. News in the gospel abroad, lifting up the standard of Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, wherever it may be. This is another lesson through the Spirit. Lord is really be edifying. Going into the gold and silver prices, it says gold soars as Mexico rolls out biometric banking. U.S. next with Genius Act. All right, and this is just a video that I came across. Matter of fact, maybe 2-3 days ago. I was actually going to do something on it, but you know, the Spirit sometimes have other things to come about, which is all good. But I wanted to speak on it a little bit because we know that gold has went up damn near, I think, what is it, like 46% if I'm not mistaken. And I know silver has went up like 80 some percent, which means silver is like $48 an ounce. And we know that gold and silver is technically the real money outside of livestock and, you know, and farmland and cattle and so forth, which is livestock. These things are the real commodity, okay? Not no baseless back FRNs, you know? And this is pretty much what got the people in the rut, because, you know, they're using FRNs, which is Federal Reserve notes. And the Federal Reserve notes, at the end of the day, it's nothing more but a fiat-based currency, man. All right, and it has no value to it. So with that being said, the economy is collapsing. All right, they was like, when gold reached over $4,000 an ounce, that's a lot of money for an ounce of gold, you know. Then that's pretty much a wrap, because they're inflating the prices on everything because we're in the time of a collapse. And I remember people paid attention. Trump mentioned, he said it was going to be 2 years of pain, you know, going into Project 2025 and the tariffs and the trade wars that he's been losing with China and these different nations. It's safe to say that, you know, things are getting ready to falter even more, Lord's will. Okay, so I'm going to play a couple of minutes of this video. Actually on the road right now, so I got to be extra circumspect. So I'm going to let the video do the talking. But also I did want to read this real quick. I was looking up the price of silver and gold. And matter of fact, I will read it when I come to a stop. It's probably not wise right now, so it's best to let the video play. So here we go.
CBDC's fake money backed by nothing and printed on nothing. Look at cryptocurrencies. Nothing there. Nothing there. Oh, and you're talking about the government control? Let's go back to 1933. Oh, that's ancient history, isn't it? The United States government tells, well, gold from the people of the United States. Turn in your gold. Turn in your gold. I told you the story. My father, may rest in peace.
Yes.
My grandfather's packing up all his gold, 1933. My parents got married in 1934. He said, I was at your grandfather's house packing up all the gold. I said, what are you doing? The president wants us to turn in our gold, and I'm a good American. I thought, you out of your mind. He said, he started cursing at me in Italian. Turned in all the gold. They made the people turn in the gold. What were they giving them, like $22 an ounce? Once they got all the gold, what did they do in 1934? Well, the Gold Reserve Act. They pumped up the price of gold 70%.
Yeah, and they wanted you to turn into gold because they know gold is the real commodity. Like, if you own silver and gold, then it ain't really nothing that you can be in debt by. Okay, but see, if you have a credit-based currency like the US dollar, then you will always be in debt. And this is why you have what they call reoccurring billing cycles, because the money is fiat. It has no value to it. And this is what people don't understand, that Esau made greenbacks so-called legal tender. That was done purposely. You know, for those of you out there that may not understand what gold or silver is, or the real money, during the time of the Nixon administration, the dollar was taken off the gold standard. And the result of it is you have a credit-based system. Even when the Federal Reserve was established back in 1913, when there was oppositions about it, people was actually opposing it because they knew that it wasn't ethical. And the fact that one of the elites mentioned, they said, look, give us control of the people's money. We care not who writes this law. So therefore, they was able to sell your money back to you with interest. So all the money that the U.S. government borrows from the Fed, they have to pay back in interest, and we have to pay for it. We're paying it back. So we would never be out of debt. Hence, it's the reason why America is damn near currently at a $37 trillion deficit. All All right, and that deficit is going to quadruple in a short amount of time. Okay, while all people think that the money in their bank accounts, that money is just going to deplete because they're going to tangible everything on a digital system. Okay, to say, well, look, we got to reset the dollar. You know,
After they stole it from the people. 70%. They're going to do it again. They're going to jack up anything they can to get rid of this debt. No way, no how are they going to be able to get rid of it. And that's why you see the dollar going down. And that's why you see gold prices going up. This isn't rocket science. The lower the dollar, the lower interest rates fall, the lower the dollar falls. The lower the dollar falls, the higher gold prices go, because it's cheaper to buy in other countries whose currencies are going up. I had never seen gold prices spike like this since I've been following it since 1970.
Same. We'll get right back to the interview.
right, and that's when the U.S. dollar was taking off the gold standard. All right, and the fact that it's spiking so quick lets you know that they're devaluing the money, which the money had no value to it. But you know, you have bear markets, you have what do you call it? The real estate market goes by something which is called a bear market, and this is the time that mortgages are the most unaffordable. Even though they say, oh, this is an investor's market, you only invest in it if you got money to kick back on your return. And this is a horrible intersection right here. You know, they built all these trees, and when you get ready to turn into somewhere where you can't see the roads, oh shit, it's a recipe for disaster, you ask me. But anyway, so yeah, people are getting ready to feel it. They're already feeling the squeeze, as the apostles always say. Yeah, people, they're getting ready to feel the squeeze. Well, oh shit, people are already feeling the squeeze, man, and it's not gonna get no easier. It's not gonna get any better for the people. All right, we all getting ready to feel the pinch and the burn.
But this is an important moment to ask yourself, when the next crisis hits, will you be properly positioned or wish you prepared earlier? I've spent over 2 decades reporting on global economic shifts, and what's happening now is unprecedented. In moments like this, timely decisions are critical. That's why we've put together the Private Wealth Playbook. It's a free guide showing you how to use gold and silver strategically for protection, privacy, and long-term performance. Click below or visit DannyReport.com to download it now so you can move forward with clarity and confidence. Now back to the show. But we're supposed to trust the government. You know what's even scarier, Gerald? Talking about fun facts. I saw this one this morning. To your point about debt and what's coming, there's never been a time in history that as many Americans are loaded up in the stock market.
Yep.
Oops. It's going to be a lot of people that are going to get burned badly, Gerald.
Go back
Millions.
to Trends Journal, January 28th. And then we forecast .com bust 2.0. Then look at your cover of your Trends Journal.
So it says what Mexico and the UK is doing, right? Now, it says what Mexico's doing, what the UK is doing, and it says what the United States is going to do in the future. And it says here, warns renowned trend forecaster Joe Salente, which, I'll be on the fence about him. I don't really swear by his antics, but, he makes some good points. But referring to Mexico's new biometric curb system, it shows you that all these governments are on one accord with each other when it comes to the mark of the beast. Okay, because everything is going to go digital. It says, but in today's interview, I don't need to read that. But anyway, it says they move towards a mandatory biometric verification and surveillance-based finance, which is the chip. So like I always mention, the chip will come in the time of an economic or dollar crash, which is actually, a collapse. They're doing it by design. This is why inflation has been so high the last couple of years, man, and there's no sign of it going back down. Everybody's making such a big deal because Trump came in and he was telling the people, like, well, look, people can't afford groceries, which people can't afford groceries. Groceries is expensive as fuck, but what did he do to curb inflation? Nothing. Why in some cases it went down a couple of percent, but that's not in tandem to, what it currently is, because the cost of living is still high as hell. Hell, you got people paying $1,600 for a 1-bedroom apartment. That's ludicrous. That's crazy work, man. To say the least. So anyway, let me get a preset real quick. Finally at a stopping point. So the water. How about you? But anyway, so I was looking up here, and how much for 1 ounce of gold right now is $4,149.20 USD, right? Gold per ounce. So gold has went up. All right, now we look at silver. Silver is 51. Damn, that's funny because I just checked it 2 hours ago and it was $48.48. So that's inflation right there. They just inflated the price, $51.94. But sooner than later, this money is not even going to be, it's not going to be worth shit, even silver and gold, because who's going to be trading and use collateral of silver and gold when things are getting ready to collapse? Okay, you ain't going to be able to go to a fast food restaurant and say, look, I got a gold bar or silver. Let me get a number 3 with extra mac sauce. It's not going to really work that way, because those things are going to be put out of commission. And even with people are going to be trading things like flour for bread and bread for women, and women for this particular antibiotic or this weapon for my daughters. It's going to be a bartering system. That's how it's going to go back too. Okay, so this is the book of Ezekiel 7, and I'm gonna start at verses 19. It says, and they should cast their silver in the streets, and their gold should be removed. Yeah, because people that have access to these residuals, regardless of it, they're not gonna have any use for it, because what the hell? All right, you ain't gonna be able to go to the bank and say, well, here, take this, take that, especially when the MOTB would be the primary currency. It says, and their gold should be removed, and their silver and gold should be not able to deliver them in the day of the wrath of Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai. It says, they should not satisfy their souls, neither fill their bowels, because it is the stumbling block of their iniquity, man. Okay, so your silver and gold ain't gonna really mean shit in that day. For those of you out there that say, well, I got a whole basket of silver. It's good to have it on hand. Like right now, it's good to have it, because during the time of a collapse, those things will be beneficial. But over time, it's just like, who's going to buy that shit from you? Okay, you can't say, well, look, here's silver, let me get your daughter. No, because they're like, okay, well, what the fuck I'm going to do with the silver? I can eat it, get some minerals, some precious metals out of it. But other than that, it's not going to be something that's a tradable commodity, even though it is real money. Now, if you got cattle and livestock and land and stuff like that, and you can barter with that, but bartering with silver and gold is a little bit complicated, because those are more tangible assets that you have more, how can I say it, certain type of transactions with those, even though silver and gold is probably good to have on hand if you have it. Okay, this is the book of Revelation 6, and I'm gonna start at verses 5. And it says, and when he had opened the third seal, I heard the third beast say, come and see. And I beheld, and lo, a black horse, and he that sat on him had a pair of balances in his hand. And I heard the voice in the midst of the 4 beasts say, a measure of wheat for a penny, and 3 measures of barley for a penny. See that thou hurt not the oil and the wine. Okay, which is the truth. But in the midst of that, everything is going to be infected. Like I just specified, I checked the gold and silver prices maybe 2-3 hours ago, and silver was sitting at $48.48 an ounce. Okay, silver used to be anywhere between $24 to $27 an ounce. Now silver is currently sitting at $51.49. Okay, platinum $1,633.29. And also palladium, which is a little bit under platinum, $1,490.30, man. Okay, and that's just like a bid on it. All right, so let's look this up real quick. Metalsdaily.com. Precious metals, live gold, live silver. Okay, so here is bidded at $48.57. Gold is bidded at $4,111.48. But you see how it just dropped? And they fluctuate these things. Esau has the power to manipulate the markets. He monopolizes shit, man. Zephaniah 1, and I'm going to start at 10. And it says, and it should come to pass in that day, says Yahweh, that there should be a noise of a cry from the fish gate, and a howling from the second, and a great crashing from the hills. Talking about these government collapsing. But how ye inhabitants of Mektesh, for all the merchant people are cut down, all they that bear silver, cut off. So your silver and gold ain't gonna mean a goddamn thing in that day. All right, shit like, like I said, livestock, certain commodities you can barter with. Hell, alcohol, liquor. Okay, that like during the time of the prohibition, when alcohol was banned, hey, you had mobs and so forth transporting that shit underground from New York to Harlem, through Staten Island to Chicago, okay, to KC to the fucking LA. That was a liquid gold in that day. So even alcohol will have a bartering price in that day. 3 bottles of Shakar and some Yan for a loaf of bread, man. And that's what we coming back to, because we're getting ready to be in a collapse. All right, and I'm gonna go down here. 13, it says, and therefore shall their goods become a booty, which is spoiled, and their houses a desolation. They shall also build houses and not inhabit them, and they shall plant vineyards and not drink the wine thereof. But the great day of the Lord is near. It is near, and it hasten greatly, and even a voice of the day of the Most High. And the mighty men should cry there bitterly, yeah, because even mighty men are getting ready to suffer from this time. Okay, a lot of celebrities, a lot of fighters and so forth are going back to the spirit world, due to ritualistic sacrifices. But it says that day is a day of wrath and a day of trouble and distress, a day of wasteness and desolation, a day of darkness and gloominess, a day of clouds and thick darkness, yeah, because of the destruction that's getting ready to hit. It says a day of the trumpet and alarm against the fenced cities and against the high towers. And I will bring distress upon men, that they should walk like blind men, because they have sinned against Yahweh, and their blood should be poured out as dust, and their flesh as dung, because there's going to be a lot of murder, a lot of death out here. People are going to be unaliving each other for the one of all things, man. This is why we got to stay prayed up and keep our heads on a spiritual swivel. And I'm going to end it here. Neither their silver nor gold should be able to deliver them in the day of the Heavenly Father's wrath. But the whole land should be devoured by the fire of his jealousy, for he should make even a speedy riddance of them, of all them that dwell in the land. And that's going to be by those thermonuclear missiles. So with that, all praises and glory and honor that's due to Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai. Lord's will, you are edified. To the next lesson. Shalom.
February 5th. It was the .com bust. We put it up there. Now, again, the data is all there. They're spending countless trillions of dollars in the AI field, building these huge plants for energy, and all the investments going in there. They're not making any money. They're spending trillions of dollars in the whole AI field. They're not making any dough. They're losing money. The Chinese are going to be leading the charge in AI. Trends are born, they grow, they mature, reach old age, and die. AI is an infant. It's only came to life to the public 2022. It's not even 3 years old. You don't invest all your money in the infant. Again, we only go by facts. You make connections between different fields. Let's go back to year 2000. China officially comes into the World Trade Organization on 2 weeks after 9/11, 2001. Less than 10% of Chinese 18-year-olds went to college in 2000. Now nearly 70%. Young people are totally high-tech AI addicted. China's investing very heavily in the AI field, as now is India. Oh, they're another 1.4 billion people. So we're talking 2.8 billion people versus 347 million in America. These aren't stupid people. They are going to lead the world in AI. There's going to be a .com bust in America. And just to make it clear, this was the Trends Journal back when it was a quarterly, 1999. .com this. .com overload will short-circuit many high expectations for huge profits in internet commerce, entertainment, and a wide array of .com services. Following the holiday season, remember this is the autumn of 1999, many of today's high-flying internet stocks, the hottest IPOs, the newly emerging IPO wannabes, will have begun their deep descent from their overvalued heights, and we said it would bust by the second quarter of 2000, which it did in March. The NASDAQ lost 80% of its value. We're going to see the same thing now. The market is going to crash. When the markets crash, gold prices will skyrocket. But again, this is crashes in March of 2000. One of my sayings is, when all else fails, they take you to war. Well, the war on terror happened in, September 2001, when we were in a deep recession and people hated little Georgie Bush. Everybody forgot about the dot-com bust. Again, not my language, hip. History today. July 26, 1941. What was going on in 1941? Well, the Great Depression. On July 26, 1941, President Roosevelt seized all Japanese assets in the United States. You know why? In retaliation for the Japanese occupation of French Indochina. Wait a minute.